It's Oscar Isaac being a baddie. And what is better than that, my friends? Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Moon Knight, Episode 2. Listen, Oscar Isaac just keeps getting better in every single episode, every single time. And I've watched episode 1 and episode 2 twice over now. And I can honestly say that episode 2 is better than episode 1 because obviously episode 1 has all of this setup and we don't know what's happening. So in episode 2, we kind of get a bit more of who Mark Spector is. We get a little bit more information on Arthur Harrow. And of course, we get some more Khonshu, which is always great. So to kick off this episode, we see that Steven is really just disoriented, doesn't understand what happened because he gets out of bed abruptly. He's chained to his bedpost and he falls out of bed. Doesn't realize he's chained and he's very confused because the last thing he remembers was that he was being chased by that jackal, and then Mark Spector was in the mirror beside him, took on the cape of Moon Knight, and that's the last thing we see. So Steven goes to the museum. One of the security guys comes up to him and says that, this section's closed off, the bathrooms are destroyed. And Steven's like, listen, I got the inside track. I know what happened. So the security guy takes him to the back room where all the camera footage is. They go back to the previous night. Steven is explaining what had happened. He talks about the jackal and the creature that chased him. And then on the screen, there's nothing there. It's just Steven talking to himself. It's just Steven walking around, staring at the camera. But we know as the audience that the person staring at the camera is not Steven Grant. It is, in fact, Mark Spector. But this is all going on in his mind. And you see that he's feeling really out of it. He doesn't understand what's happening. He's trying to piece everything together. And that's what goes on in his mind. And then we see what happens with someone with dissociative identity disorder. And it's heartbreaking because then Steven gets called into the office with management, and his manager basically says, listen, we think that you need to get help. You need to talk to someone because this isn't, normal. And that's really hurtful because Steven, in his own mind, in his own right, he is like, I'm perfectly normal, but something else is going on. I'm perfectly normal, but I have this other person inside of me and nothing's really connecting for him. So Steven ends up resigning. He's like, I'm going to go. I don't need this. You clearly don't understand me and don't even want to understand me. And I think that that's a really important discussion to be had. I'm happy that they highlighted that from dissociative identity disorder. I think that they showed Steven in that light, and it was important for him to have that conversation with himself in his own mind to see what's actually happening. So we have that. Then Steven goes to talk to his BFF, the man that does not move, and he's just sitting there. And so he's just talking to him at the fountain, and he says, I have the keys and I have the cell phone. So with the keys, with that little emblem that's on it, he finds a storage unit. So then he goes into the storage unit and he is faced with Mark Spector because the walls in the storage unit, there's some form of a reflective panel in the walls, and Mark is just having a conversation with him. So Steven finds this duffel bag full of like Mark's passports, money, anything that's illegal, weapons, anything is in that duffel bag. He has a cot set up and he's very, very confused. So Mark ends up telling Steven that he is Khonshu's avatar. Steven is an extension of Mark and Khonshu's avatar. So that is what's so fascinating. And the important thing about Moon Knight episode 2 that I love so much is that we get so much interaction between Mark and Steven, and they're fighting, there's banter, they're trying to understand each other a bit more because these are fragments in their mind and they're trying to piece them together to be a whole person, to be a whole unit and work together and have that balance. So right now, because Mark is trying to take over Steven's body and Steven doesn't want him to, that's the power struggle between both of them, which is so interesting to watch considering what they do visually with this story. So there's like the visual storytelling, which I really appreciate with the reflective paneling, the mirrors, wherever you can find some sort of reflection of Mark Spector or Steven Grant. And I think it's really wicked storytelling. And I love that. So in this case, when Steven finds out what the connection is. The veil between the two of them is very like it's breaking down slowly. So it's very, very thin. So they can kind of talk to each other a bit more fluidly than they would have in episode 1. So they're becoming more of a unit together and trying to balance each other out. So in that case, Steven's like, you are never taking my body over again. I'm going straight to the police with this illegal duffel bag, and I will stay locked up in prison so you will never be able to hurt anyone ever again. So we have to understand that like Mark is the mercenary. He's out killing people for Khonshu. He has a history of doing that. And then Steven's like, I just want to live my life. I want to go on dates. I want to go to work. I want to have fun and enjoy my life and do whatever I want. But Mark is not allowing him to do that. So he bolts out of the storage unit. Then one of my favorite scenes is this hallway scene because of the use of lighting. And it feels like someone's coming for Steven. Just through the lights flickering on and off, you see the creature of Khonshu approaching him from either side of the hallway, and he's coming at him. But you just feel his presence as he's coming towards Steven. And that final shot of Khonshu turning around, looking at him, it was just so crisp. I loved it so much. And we see Steven booking it away from Khonshu. And we have to keep in mind that the scarab that Arthur Harrow needs is in that duffel bag. So that's really important in this episode. So he runs out of the storage unit. Khonshu's like, my God, this guy is making it so difficult for us. And he's so sassy in episode 2. He runs out, falls into the middle of the street with the duffel bag. And Layla, the girl on the cell phone, ends up finding him but calls him Mark. So she keeps calling him Mark. Steven's like, who the hell? Why do you keep calling me Mark? You're not supposed to know me as Mark. I'm a completely different person. He gets on her motorcycle and she's like, why do you have an accent? Why are you dressed like this? Why are you running? Why do you have it? Like all these questions. So that is when Steven starts spiraling, and it doesn't stop from there. Like this is like nonstop action, which is so wicked in this episode. It's great. So they go to his apartment, and Layla is about to sign these divorce papers to Mark because she can't handle his lifestyle anymore, rightfully so. But Mark is leaving to try and protect Layla from other things, which we find out later in the episode that Mark is trying to protect Layla from being Khonshu's next avatar. That's why he's been distant with his wife. He doesn't want to be anywhere around her. That's why he kind of goes all the way to London with his burner phone. And then this ends up happening with Steven. So Steven's technically living 2 different lives. Steven also kind of just warms up to Layla, understands the appeal of Layla as a wife, as a partner, and Steven's like really cute about it. He's trying to flirt with her because they have similar interests. They like the same poetry. They speak French. She's learning hieroglyphics, and they have like a cute little moment there. But Steven just wants to tell Layla because he feels like she's a very good person. She should know the truth. And Mark's like, don't you dare, because of the secret with Khonshu taking her over as the next avatar. He doesn't want that, but we find that at the end of the episode. In this case, the scarab is what's important that leads us to Arthur Harrow. So there's cops that bang on the door. Cops, they're never real cops. And they end up taking Steven in. Steven ends up going to Harrow because those cops worked for Harrow, and they have a nice little conversation. Ethan Hawke is phenomenal in this role. He's absolutely brilliant. He's so subtle yet menacing. And what I love in this particular scene with Steven and Arthur Harrow is the fact that they are giving us so much information of what they're going to do moving forward. But it doesn't feel like heavy exposition. It just feels like these are pieces to the puzzle that Steven has in his mind, and then we are figuring it out along with him. So I understand that people are like, oh, they're over explaining what's going to happen with Arthur Harrow, what his plan is, blah, 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 blah. But for me, it didn't feel like it was too much. I really thought that they nailed it in that scene. I love that Steven is still trying to be the good person in this case and actually have a conversation with Arthur Harrow with no gods involved in this. But Arthur's plan is really interesting. So he wants to resurrect Amit, who basically executes people who are bad before they even do the bad thing. So technically, you're killing innocent people if you don't really know they're going to actually go through with that plan. And there's a really good conversation there. It's really thought provoking and it makes complete sense. I'm going to stop someone before they actually do something. But then Steven counters it saying, but what if that person doesn't follow through with it and it's just a thought? So we have that to really digest and think about. But like I said on the Movie Files Live discussion of episode 1, our review there, I said that he feels like a Baron Zemo. Arthur really believes that what he's doing is right and just and fair. And that's why he's doing it. He has his own idea of what's good and what can be good for other people. And I think that that is such an important element in having a perfect villain. So I am loving Arthur Harrow more and more every single day. But having Khonshu in Steven's ear while Arthur's like roasting him was so funny. Arthur asked Steven for the scarab, doesn't have it. Layla comes into play. Mark is literally yelling at Steven to give him his body. That's not happening. A jackal comes out of nowhere, nonstop action. Layla's running, trying to find an exit. Steven's running after her, having no idea what to do. So then they lock themselves in this room. Now in this room, the jackal's banging on the door. You have Layla literally telling Steven, bring out the suit. You can bring out the suit. Mark can bring out the suit. Steven's also having a side conversation with Mark through one of the mirrors there. And Mark's like, I can help. Let me help you. So Steven absolutely breaks down, asking both of them to stop. He's hearing all of these voices. He just got all of that information. And then this happens. The jackal busts through the door, takes Steven. Layla has no idea what is happening because she can't see the creature, and the jackal just tackles Steven out of the window. And this is what I mean when the veil between Mark and Steven was very, very thin, because Steven channeled a suit, and then that suit became Mr. Knight. And Mr. Knight looks absolutely fantastic. One of the most polished looks in the MCU, absolutely phenomenal, does a superhero landing, and he gets to look at Mark in another mirror or another piece of glass outside, and they have a conversation about the suit. I thought it was really playful, it was fun, and you're still diving into his mindset and the tandem between him and Mark. So I thought that the opportune moment for that suit to pop out was top notch, and it looked phenomenal. Mr. Knight tries so hard. Poor Steven tries to fight off this jackal, and it's not really working. He gets beat to a pulp. He does a little dance trying to scare him, tries to throw a couple punches, but he's just not as strong as Mark Spector. Then when he has had enough, Mark transitions into Steven, takes over his body, and the transitions from Mr. Knight to Moon Knight, just absolutely stunning work, phenomenal work. I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with this suit. The fight choreography is really strong. Him throwing his little crescent moons that are actually blades. I loved it. I love that he was running in the moonlight on top of the rooftops, trying to lead this jackal to a certain location. It was amazing. I love this suit. I like the fight choreography a whole lot. Episode 3 is going to blow your minds with what he's capable of. I'm so excited for you guys to watch it. But my goodness, the slow build of his power set, the slow build of him becoming Moon Knight and showing us Mark Spector is just so well done. Again, I will say the pacing in each episode of Moon Knight is the strongest in the MCU, which will then result into excellent pacing for the entire series, making it the best in the MCU. I am loving this season. That moment when he finally kills the jackal, Moon Knight suit comes off, and we see Mark we see Mark, and now Mark Spector's voice is completely different than Stephen Grant's. It's Oscar Isaac. It's Oscar Isaac being a baddie. And what is better than that, my friends? So I really love Mark Spector. There's so many layers to Moon Knight, to Mark Spector, to Stephen Grant. And I think that they're doing an excellent job really going through these planes and dissecting it. So I absolutely loved episode 2. I enjoyed it more than episode 1. And I just can't wait to see what they do with Moon Knight as the hero. I want more action scenes. I want to see more of his power set, who he can work with in the future. I really hope that this isn't the end of Moon Knight. I know that Oscar Isaac doesn't really have a contract after this, but hopefully we get to see more of him, because this character can go on for seasons upon seasons, and there's so much you can cover with Moon Knight. So I absolutely loved episode 2 of Moon Knight. Please, guys, let me know in the comments below how you're vibing with this season. If you think Oscar Isaac is god tier casting in the MCU, please let me know. We need to put some respect on my boy's name. He's absolutely killing it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.